All right, welcome to the FA40 podcast. I'm your host, Josh Proch, and today I'm going to talk to you about cardio. And this is something that we like to prescribe for our clients, kind of as things to do on their own. We focus a lot on the strength training, a little bit with some interval training and things like that, but mostly the strength stuff. And I want to talk to you about cardio and the different types of cardio. A lot of people don't realize that there's different types of cardio. They kind of think it's just like going out and going for a jog or going walking and things like that. And while those are all are one type of cardio, there are a few different types, and they each have different goals. Some are I won't say some are better than others, but they each have different goals and they can be used for different things. And I'll talk to you about how we kind of incorporate them into people's programming and things like that. So when we look at programming for somebody, strength training is our number one priority. That's what we want to get the most out of, or get in first each week. So, and it's going to give us the most bang for our buck. It's going to make the biggest changes. It's going to stimulate metabolism, keep the body strong, keep us mobile, help us move better, just doing all of that sort of stuff. But once you've gotten 2 to 4 strength workouts per week, kind of depending on your goal, I mean, I usually say once you've gotten 3, if you have time for 3 workouts, get 3 strength workouts. After that, we can start adding some cardio in if you want. It's not that we couldn't do more strength, but that would be kind of the place for cardio. So once you've checked off those strength workouts, basically can look at adding in some cardio activity. But what type? And that's usually the question. Like I will get asked, should I do some boot camp, or should I do some HIIT or interval or just walk or whatever? So there's 5 different ways to do cardio, and each one has different benefits. So I'm going to go over these here with you. So the first one is what we would call traditional cardio. And this is what most people think of when they think of cardio. It's your traditional running, jogging, biking, getting on the elliptical, stair climber, etc. Any of that kind of stuff. That's done for like 30 minutes or more for a certain distance. And this type of cardio isn't bad. It is the least effective basically for changing your body composition, and typically it'll work best when we add it on top of like 2 to 3 strength workouts each week. It's more ideal when you want to help the body recover from a workout, but the biggest mistake made with this type of cardio is people do too much of it. So 30 minutes works really well and will keep the body feeling good. The goal here isn't so much with traditional cardio as so much about burning calories. It's more about helping the body recover from each workout, getting maybe a little bit of an endorphin rush from it, improving just cardiovascular endurance a little bit. When the cardio starts going longer than 30 minutes, and again, this depends on people and their fitness level and recovery and everything like that, but around 30 minutes, we start to cross over to the point where the body's going to start to catabolize muscle tissue. And when we catabolize muscle tissue, this will negatively affect our strength workouts and our body composition. So because the muscle is going to get burned off, and we don't want that. Also, our appetite tends to get stimulated afterwards, and when that happens, the muscle starts to get, like I said, catabolized. We get some low blood glucose levels in the body. And when all this happens, we run the risk of overeating and getting adding some excess fat, losing some muscle tissue, which will end up leading us further away from our body composition goals. So the traditional cardio, like I said, keep that around 30 minutes, maybe 1-2 times a week if you're looking for that. Now, if you're getting ready to go out and do like a half marathon or something like that, then you need to run a little bit more and do a little bit more for that, just for the demands of that activity. And just keep in mind that you'll probably see some muscle loss with that, and you might see an increase in body fat percentage. The second one is our low intensity leisure cardio, and this is the kind that we recommend for people every day. This basically, we recommend getting 20 to 60 minutes, and this type of cardio is basically just walking. It also can include activities like a family bike ride, going out kayaking, playing a pickup game. The goal is basically just to get outside, get up, and get yourself moving. And by adding 20 to 60 minutes of walking each day, in addition to your strength workouts, it can really supercharge your body for fat loss and fitness results. That's where we really recommend people spend most of their time when they're looking at cardio. The next three are all different types of more high intensity cardio. These can be effective at building endurance, especially in speed sport, like speed endurance sports and stuff like that. The downside with these three is they also tax the body really hard. Even though some of them are very short, they tax the body really hard. They tax the central nervous system really hard. They can really stimulate appetite, which can be hard when you're trying to restrict calories to lose some body fat and things like that. So these ones are actually prescribed a little bit less and more on an individual basis with the client. And I'm not saying that any of them are bad or if you're doing them, you shouldn't be doing them. It's just that's one of the kind of a word of caution that comes with these. So the first one is called HIIT, and this is what most people are probably familiar with. And this is our high intensity interval training. So this is anything, typically if you're doing a real HIIT, it's going to be about 10 to 20 minutes of all out effort. And that all-out effort is going to be about 5 to 20 seconds. And then you're going to rest somewhere for 60 to 120 or more seconds. Really, when you get any interval that's lasting longer with a shorter rest period or a duration of longer than 20 minutes, it's not really HIIT. And this is why. So, because when it's done correctly, 10 to 20 minutes is all that you're really capable of doing at the intensity. So now we're looking at HIIT and we're looking at intensity. We want that intensity there, and if you're able to do it for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, hour workouts, or longer than 5 to 20 seconds and only need a short rest period, the intensity isn't there. The work output isn't high enough. The downside to this type of cardio is it's limited in exercise selection because you need to pick something that can be done quickly and will gas you in less than 20 seconds. So when we look at exercises, there's very few that are going to do that because it allows us to move quickly, fast, and safely. So with that in mind, you're looking at exercises like the battling ropes, you're looking at sprints, you're looking at the Airdyne bikes, hill sprints, ski ergs, maybe Valslide mountain climbers, and sled pushes are going to be like your best options for there. The other downside is if we have a client that can't move quickly, this isn't always an appropriate choice because, again, they're just not going to be able to move fast enough to get their heart rate up, and it just kind of becomes like steady state cardio kind of stuff. Adding 1 to 2 sessions of HIIT per week to a routine of 2 to 3 strength workouts can work great for certain clients. This is definitely a little bit more of an advanced client and advanced training modality. But again, a lot of people make the mistake of just doing too much HIIT or only doing HIIT. And we're really 1 or 2 sessions per week for about a max of 20 minutes is all it's going to need. It would actually produce better results for what they're looking for. More than this is going to negatively affect the body through an overload of stress. And for those with high stress levels due to a lack of sleep, jobs, family, and life in general, this may not be an appropriate way to exercise because of that high stress that's already placed on a stressed out body. And for this person, they'll find that they'll just do much better if they do 2 to 3 strength workouts per week with getting in some of that low intensity leisure activity like we were talking about, like walking and things like that. Number 4 is what we call MIT, or medium intensity interval training. And this is really what most people are doing when they're saying that they're doing the HIIT or high intensity interval training or anything like that. It's basically a workout that's longer than 20 minutes, uses intervals longer than 20 seconds. You don't have a rest to work ratio of 3 to 1. It's just basically medium intensity interval training. So this is like your 30-30s, this could be 40-20s, this could be 60 seconds on, 60 seconds off, AMRAPs, every minute on the minute, just different things like that. This can work really well, though, for people in addition to 2 to 3 strength workouts each week. And it's a nice way to kind of get in some extra movement, do a little different workout, keep things fresh and fun, and help you build a strong aerobic base. And this is actually what, with our boot camps here in the gym, this is what we're doing here, is with this medium intensity interval training. And these workouts, they're best done with body weight, medicine balls, kettlebells, and kind of the goal is keeping the heart rate around 70% max if you're tracking that. We did that for a little bit, but we kind of got away from it. We just found that people were too focused on their heart rate, not actually their workout and things like that. The biggest mistake here that people make, though, is that they'll actually push too hard and get their heart rate up over 80%, and it's kind of too high of a heart rate because they're pushing too hard. And when this happens, this is where we get into that catabolizing of muscle tissue, add into like excess stress on the body. We start depleting muscle glycogen, and what that does is it creates basically a ravenous appetite afterwards, which again will make it hard when we're trying to have body composition goals. So if we're losing muscle tissue, that's going to hurt us with having that lean body mass. If we're super hungry and we're trying to eat in a calorie deficit, that's going to make that even more challenging. So it's when we go too hard and we have too high of a heart rate, that's where we get some negative effects on body composition. What we've found is basically the best interval times for these workouts are like 30-30, 60-60. Those two setups work really well, as well as the EMOMs and the AMRAPs. Again, as long as you're not just trying to fly through and like get as many rounds as possible. I mean, that's the point of it, but you're going at a moderate pace with it versus like some crazy like kill yourself kind of pace with it and things. So again, it's getting continuous movement for a period of time. And then the fifth one, this is the one that most people are probably the least familiar with. And this is your short burst cardio. So there's really two methods here. The one people are familiar with, it's called the Tabata method. And the lesser known one is called the Gibala method. So the problem here is a lot like HIIT. When someone says they're doing Tabatas, they usually aren't. Tabata training is a protocol. It was named after a Japanese researcher, and whose name was Dr. Izumi Tabata. I'm probably butchering that name. And his team conducted at the National Institute of Fitness and Sports in Tokyo. They did their research there. And what they did is they found that a 4 minute and 10-second workout done 4 times per week for 6 weeks created greater increases in aerobic and anaerobic endurance opposed to working out 5 days per week for an hour each session at a moderate intensity. So the whole key is how they did this in the intensity that they were working at. So when we look at Tabatas, it's 8 rounds of exercise done for 20 seconds of work with a 10-second rest. So it takes 4 minutes and 10 seconds. The key here is that it needs to be all-out effort. So this is like running from like a hungry bear or like to save your life or something like that. That this all-out intensity has to be truly all-out intensity. And when it's anything less than that, you lack that benefit. And this is where most people mess up Tabatas. They'll start doing it with like kettlebell swings or with push-ups or squat and press or whatever, jumping jacks and stuff. And they're just not all-out full exertion activities because you just can't do those kind of things fast enough. So, I mean, to put it like simply, if it's not 4 minutes of absolute hell, you're not working hard enough and you're not doing Tabatas. So, like HIIT, this is going to limit us in our exercise choices because of the intensity that's needed here. So we're really back to things like sprints, sled pushes, the airdynes, ski ergs, maybe battling ropes and medicine ball slams. Again, I feel with those ones, you can't quite move fast enough and you're not getting enough total body with it. So you're really back to things like sprint, sled pushes, and the airdyne bike. You could do a spin bike on there. That's how they did the research. You could use a spin bike with that. They actually used a Wingate bike, but With the Jabala method, this is a little bit different, but similar. You're still working for a short period of time, but you're going to take a much longer rest period. And this is because the goal here with this type of cardio training is to train maximally and stay in the anaerobic system without ever crossing over to our aerobic system. In Tabata, we're going to cross over at some point into that aerobic system because we're not getting the recovery there, even though it is only 4 minutes. With this Jabala method, we're not crossing over into that aerobic system. So the human body can only work maximally for about up to 60 seconds, and that's with a very high level of fitness. So it depends on the level of fitness and the specific activity, but once we're past 60 seconds, all-out effort is no longer maximal. Many times 20 seconds is where people are just they're gonna kind of peter out and not be maximal anymore. So with this method, you have a couple options that you can use. There's kind of 4 that we like. The first one is going to be 30 seconds of max effort, followed by 4 minutes of rest, repeated 3 to 4 times. So it's a very short workout. It might take you 20-25 minutes to get through this because of the long rest periods, but the actual work, total work is going to be very short. The other one that works, that could work well, is 60 seconds of max effort, followed by 4 to 6 minutes of rest, again repeated 3 to 4 times. The 10 seconds of max effort, followed by 2 minutes of rest for 4 to 6 rounds. Or you could do like the Tabata, where you would be doing 20 seconds of max effort, 10-second rest 3 times. Then what you do is you rest for 4 minutes and repeat it 3 times. So it's sort of like a Tabata, but we're kind of combining it into that into this Jabala method here. So you're doing 20-10 3 times, rest 4 minutes, repeat that 3 times as well there. So again, the amount of work you're doing is very little, but there's going to be a massive metabolic effect on the body and a massive anaerobic work done and things like that. These can also stimulate hunger a lot. That is one thing that people do notice, and just myself, when I've done these, I'd notice afterwards I'm like really, I don't know, I'm gonna call it metabolically disturbed. Like your body just really feels kind of drained, I guess. You feel like you did a lot of work, even in a very short period of time. So if you're looking to improve your endurance and work capacity, the Jabala method works great. But again, it needs to be added to your strength training and not done in place of your strength training. It's also an easy way to incorporate cardio into a strength training routine when done at the end. We could do, maybe not quite as many rounds of it, but you could do a couple short rounds there as well too, or you could use the Tabatas in there as well too. And again, with these 2 short burst cardio methods, more's not better here. Work hard for what is the prescribed time, and then get on with your day. We don't want more is better, because it's going to just run your body down and beat your body down. So those are your 5 different types of cardio. Like I said, they each have a different role. They each have different outcomes and things like that. You just need to pick the one that is right for you and for your goals. And like I said, for most people, most clients over 40, we're going to be that more leisure, low intensity cardio, just walk in and then getting 3 strength workouts a week. That's going to be kind of like your secret sauce, and just kind of getting you the results, making fitness part of your lifestyle, and just being healthy. If you guys have any questions on this, just shoot a message over, let us know, put something in the comments, we'll be glad to answer it. So hope you enjoyed that, and have a great week. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts and rate and review us.